Every time I go to Penang, which is a little island just off the coast of Malaysia, I have this dish. It's basically silky egg yolk with curry leaves and chilli and prawns that have been fried nice and crispy.
Oh.
I'm going to add a couple of things that I like to add with it, with some herbs and a few bits and pieces, but the gist of this is going to be exactly the same. In fact, don't watch this recipe because if you do, you're going to want to make it every day and you'll blame me for it. Now, the first thing I've done is I've got my prawns, beautiful big prawns here, and I just cut through the back shell here with those scissors.
Yes.
And we remove the little pooper little shoot there, which is right there. And just take that out. We don't want that because it's full of grit and yucky things.
Yes.
So out that comes and into the bin. Now, everything else is left whole. I like to cook the prawns in their shells with everything on them because I eat the whole thing.
Yes, so do I. I'm so excited.
They're delicious.
They're kindred spirits.
Exactly. Now, grab a good pinch of salt.
You said exactly.
Throw it in here. We're kindred spirits. I don't know about that. We just love eating good food. That's what it's all about.
Wow.
Now, I'll just add some flour to this. About 2, 3, 4 tablespoons, a quarter of a cup, whatever you need. I'll pass this to you to be able to coat the prawns. And you've done the right thing. 6 egg yolks in the bowl there. Whisk them together because they need to be combined. Now, salt in here, plain flour in here, and we're ready to go. So I'll grab these prawns like this and then straight into the oil. I'll just check the oil with the tail there, and you can see it's starting to bubble. The right amount of heat to drop them in there.
Beautiful.
And a little trick is when you drop them in, I just drop them in away from me. So if you do get any splash,
It's away.
it goes that way. You can see the prawns are coming on nicely. They're sizzling away beautifully. That's what I want. We want to brown off the prawns or cook them in the oil here so that they're nice and crisp and flavoursome, ready to go for the next thing. So you've whisked up the yolks, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Those chilies are going to be fried in there as well. And those chilies are the Thai chilies, the scuds. The really, really hot ones. So this is the bit where you can have a good laugh of me because I love chilli, but it makes me sweat like nothing else. Now, prawns don't take very long to cook. They're not very thick, but you want to make sure that that coating is on the outside. That crisp flour on the outside will actually help to soak up some of the sauce and the liquid and the juices so it tastes really good. The other thing I've got here, and this is essential for this dish, is curry leaves.
These leaves are an integral component of Indian cooking.
Yep.
And they add a lot of flavour. That smell, that aroma is just classic, you know, very Asian. It's beautiful.
Exactly. As soon as you pick them, you get that flavour all over your hands.
Love it.
Now, the prawns are cooked, so what I'll do, Priya, is I'll take the prawns out and pop them into this little container here. And at this stage here, if they're slightly undercooked, it doesn't really matter because we're going to add a bit more heat later on, so they will come up beautifully. Now, some people looking at this might think, you've got to take the heads off. What about the guts? That's the flavour. That's what it's all about.
I agree.
Now, at this point here, I'm going to tip out this oil. And this is the thing I love about this pan. I've got these 2 little lips on either side, which means I can just pour the oil straight out into another pan. And you can see I use a little strainer in there. That's a great idea because it takes away all the bits of flour and the bits of prawn juice in there. And I just go straight into the pan here. I'll add some oil to this. This is some olive oil, pure olive oil, and you can see the thermo signal there is telling me it's nice and hot, so I'm ready to go again. Now, this is where this dish gets the name, the butter that goes in there. Now, I was thinking it came from Butterworth, which is a town in Malaysia. That's where my dad was, and that's where the Air Force base was. But it's actually the butter goes in the dish. And you can see the butter will start to melt nicely. Now, what you want to do is stir this around, have a wooden spoon that's handy. You want to catch this butter just as it gets to the right heat, as soon as it's melted, and we'll be able to add the egg yolk. This is the little trick you need to do. You grab the oil and the butter and stir it around in a clockwise direction and slowly add the egg yolk, just a little bit at a time. And as you whiz it around, you'll notice it'll foam up, but you'll get these little strings. And what you want to do is try and crisp this up. So you stir it around and keep stirring it quite vigorously. And the heat of the butter and the oil brings it all together. I throw in the curry leaves. You hear that? They'll start to pop. And the chilli and the garlic as well. So that they all cook in the oil and they flavour the egg. At this stage here, I'll add a pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper to that as well. It's coming out beautifully. And you're doing the right thing, chopping those spring onions and that coriander. And I'll just stir this around last little bit. Have a look at that. that wispy
Yeah,
bit of egg there.
amazing. It looks like little threads.
And then using the lip of the pot, I just pour it straight into here.
And you strain it off. The oil goes, okay.
Strain off the oil and butter because we don't need that anymore. And then into the pan, we add the prawns. In they go. These will start to heat up in a second. And with that, I'll throw in the spring onions and the vinegar.
This is fanfare, Richo. The smell's coming off this. My goodness, smells absolutely delicious. Love the curry leaves.
And because the prawns have that flour on the outside, they soak up all the juices that come into it. Give that a bit of a tap like that and then pour it straight over the top.
Wow, very interesting. I did not envision it coming together like this.
It's nice and crispy,
Yeah.
and you get that egg yolk all the way around it, and then we grab the lids.
Content?
Exactly, grab all
Great.
these last little bits here. On they go, some deep fried shallots as well, and we're almost ready to bring this together. In they go, deep fried shallots
Beautiful.
on, and then toss it around. Another great reason for using this pan here.
Wow.
And then we just start to pile it all up here like that.
Holy moly.
Reminds me of growing up in that little island of Penang. This almost brings a tear to my eye as I pile it all up there. Almost brings a tear, but
Almost.
as I
That
told
is-
you, my tear ducts have been removed, so I never cry anymore.
He's never cried.
What do you think of that?
This looks glorious.
It does. Now we need a glass of wine with that, don't
Okay, we do, absolutely. Here you go. Am I pouring?
we? You can pour.
Okay.
Pour it like you stole it.
He's a real gentleman, the Richo. We can do that. Perfect white to go with prawns. I love it.
Sauvignon Blanc?
Yeah.
Your favourite, isn't it?
Oh, it's
I love the
actually-
Sauvignon Blanc.
yeah.
This was your choice. I tend to go for more Pinots and things, but the Sauvignon Blanc, I know you love it. That's why I paired this dish with it.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.